started with Coach Richt with a brief opening statement on his team's week in Orlando.
Right. Okay. I think we've had a good week. Certainly had a mixture of work and fun. I think our guys enjoyed it. Just reading some of Jarvis Jones' comments before I came down here, sound like he nailed it on the head. Just talking about focusing on the game plan, focusing on practice when it's time to focus on that. I mean, that was the main thing that I asked these guys. I said, look, we got 15 practices, some at home and some here. And when it's time to practice, let's practice. When it's time to meet, let's focus on that. When it's time to lift and condition and whatever it is, let's focus 100% on that. But then I don't mind the other times those guys enjoy themselves and doing it in the right way, of course. But I think we did a good job of that. Now, is it going to be good enough? We'll find out tomorrow. But I'm pretty pleased with how things went.
All right, we'll open things up. Question and answer for Coach Richt. If you could please find someone with a microphone when you have the question.
Or you can maybe just say it. Maybe you need the mic. I'll stand. I figure I can hear you, but maybe there's another reason.
Hey, Mark. Can you just talk about the importance in your mind of closing this season with a win?
It's very important. We know we lost 2 bowl games ago. We know we lost last year's bowl game. We know that we got another opportunity to win a bowl game, and as you say, finish the season on a high note. There's always, on a personal level, there's always a scene in the locker room after the game. What I'm saying is we're all going to be in there, and I'm going to talk to the team for the very last time, and I'm going to be, addressing, those seniors, for the very last time. And you want that last memory to be a good one. I mean, that's a big motivating factor for me, and I think it probably is for those seniors or anybody else who's thinking that, hey, this may be my last ball game. And so I think it's important to them, and I try to talk to the younger guys about the importance of doing the very best they can so they can honor the older guys. And also, it is 2013. We'll be playing on 2013. It is, in some ways, the beginning of next year, too, so it's important for the young guys as well. So those are the things we talk about the most.
Mark, you've seen a Bo Blaney defense up over here.
I don't know where you're at.
On the right.
Okay.
You've seen a Bo Blaney defense up close and had some success against the middle 5, and obviously knew everything he did at LSU. Could you talk about what he does defensively and maybe compare it a little bit to what you're seeing of this Nebraska team?
Well, there's some similarities in how they like to play their coverages and their fronts as well. I think that they're one thing you look for when you first start to look at the film is everything just tied in right? Are they sound in what they do? Are they handling every gap responsibility? Are they handling every zone when it's zone coverage? Are they handling every buddy and man coverage when they go man? Or when they blitz, do they still have integrity in there against the run game? I mean, there's so many things you look for from a soundness standpoint, and they're very, very sound in what they do. I mean, they're just very, very good at making sure everything's tied in the way it ought to be. And I think they do a great job of mixing their coverages. They do a good job of not giving you a lot of clues pre-snap. They try to, we use the term hold your water, meaning, disguise as long as you can until the ball snapped. If you show your hand a little bit too soon, then all of a sudden the offensive team knows what's happening and might be able to make an adjustment, or it might be just enough information for a quarterback to know what his progression might be, or what his, if there's some type of blitz coming, where he's going to go with the ball before the snap. And I think they do a good job of holding their water and staying in their disguises as long as they possibly can. And they're good sound tacklers, and so they do a lot of things right.
Mark, the defense had a little trouble, a few issues in the second half of the Alabama game, locking up on the guys. So how important is it going to be for the defense to lock up against Taylor Martinez and the Nebraska I-backs this game?
Yeah, and you're saying locking up as far as wrapping up and getting on the ground, not so much man coverage. I don't think you can knock these guys down. I don't think you can knock good backs down. Every once in a while you'll knock a good back down, but usually you're gonna, if that's your way of tackling, you'll come at full speed and butt him up and knock him on the ground, you're gonna bounce off more times than not, and he's gonna keep his feet, and he's gonna keep running. So, I think it's very important to come with pace and come with an attitude that if you don't wrap up, when you tackle, then you're gonna have moments where, guys are gonna make you look bad. So, we've got to do a good job of that, especially the first guy there. Everybody else, you know, they might be able to just try to knock them back, maybe begin to try to strip the ball, punch the ball out, whatever it might be if it's exposed. But if the first guy's trying to strip the ball, then if you don't get the strip, the back's still running. And every once in a while, you'll be successful and you'll get that turnover, and that's exciting. But then you also, if you miss the ball, or the guy rips away from you and he goes on to score, or gets a big first down, or whatever it is, it's just not good. So to be really sound, the first guy's got to face him up, and, you know, bend his knees and butt him up and wrap his arms and hope everybody's rallying behind him to help him.
Coach, you were talking about the Nebraska defense being sound. That said, what did you see from their championship game performance in the Big Ten? And is there anything you can take advantage of tomorrow?
Well, I think the game, I mean, it's one of those games that got away from them. And we had our game like that too. We played South Carolina, and they just started out hot, and they got momentum, and we never really did much to stop that momentum. I think we finally got a score on the board and made it look halfway respectable, but we just got beat that day, and I think that's what happened to them. It was one of those games where it just got away from them. I mean, we all know they played the very same team and beat them earlier in the year. So, you know, which team is the Nebraska team we're going to see tomorrow? I think the same thing would be true. If they just studied our South Carolina film, they'd probably be licking their chops. But you know, when you watch the rest of the season, we've had other performances a lot better than that, and they have as well.
Hey, Mark, after this game, you'll have maybe a week, and then everything picks up with the silly season recruiting.
Recruiting.
What do you do that week between the bowl game and when things start?
Well, some years, me personally, some years I don't go to the convention. This year in particular, I'll be at the convention just about every day, every moment the doors are open. So I'll be at the convention more than I usually am. I'm on the board of trustees now with the American Football Coaches Association. There's some obligations there, and I'm going to be speaking there as well. So I'm just going to be there more than normal. But you still got to make your phone calls and all that. And there's a lot of your top guys that are in all-star games at that time. You can't contact them when they're at that competition site. But you may be talking to parents or somebody else in the family besides that area. So we're still trying to make contact with everybody by phone. And then our coaches will be, some will go to the convention, some won't. I mean, some of them just take the time to decompress a little bit and spend some time with family. So I kind of leave it up to the coaches.
Coach, college football is such a cyclical sport, and you guys are going to lose, you know, your whole defense pretty much after this year. You got so close to getting to the BCS title game this year. Does it feel like what a lot of people say, that this year was a missed opportunity a little bit, and then it's so hard to get back there? You feel like you'll be kind of rebuilding after this?
Every year you don't make it's a missed opportunity, I think. But you just don't know. First of all, we were not losing everybody. There are still some very good defensive players that will be sticking around, and a lot of young ones that are waiting in the wings and working hard and preparing for their moment. So I think we're going to be very athletic. I think we're going to be a fast defense. I think we're going to have guys with the skill sets to get it done. And then it's just going to be a matter of, you know, how quickly can they begin to play, you know, championship style defense. That's going to be the big push. I think going into this particular season, if we all remember back, even when we started spring ball and all the questions we had about our offensive line, all the questions we had about our offense in general, we didn't know our running game. We had a lot of issues, you know, they were like, wow, we're going to be in trouble. And then I think our offensive line came through pretty good this year. I think our running game was very solid. I think that we played offensively probably better than anybody expected. So I'm hoping that that's what we do defensively next year.
Mark, emotion and that sort of extra motivation figured in so much for you guys this year. talked about a lot. What's your feel about that and whether it'll figure in at all tomorrow?
As far as how will our team respond emotionally going into this game? You know, I don't know. I just think there's enough veteran guys that know this is their last moment wearing the red and black. I just can't imagine them not really playing with great effort. Will they play a great game? I don't know, but I think they'll play with great effort. And I think when your seniors and your leaders play that way, I think the young guys just take notice and try to do the same. But I mean, Nebraska's got a bunch of seniors too. They got a bunch of guys that care very much about how they finish, and they certainly, I'm sure, are tired of hearing about the last game they played, and want to prove to everybody that they're a lot better football team than they showed on that day. So both teams will have plenty of motivation, and we just have to wait and see. I've watched enough bowl games year after year, and this year in particular, where you see guys do still get excited about playing in these games. I mean, I don't know if I've seen many games where it looked like no one wanted to be there. I mean, those kids get excited, and if they weren't excited when it started, they get revved up before too long. If something good happens or something bad happens sometimes, momentum's, sometimes if something bad happens to you, it gets you fired up. You know, sometimes if something good happens, it gets you going. So, but I hope we start with a lot of emotion. I will say, I'm concerned about the amount of time that we've got to be in that locker room after pregame warm-up. To get out and play 37 minutes is a long time. So we got to get out there, pregame warm-up, get ready to go, and you try to get all lathered up and ready to play ball, and then you go wait for 37 minutes before you go back out there again. That's a long time. And so I don't know how that's going to affect us, or I'm still thinking in terms of how to try to manage that. But I mean, if you try to get, you get all warmed up and ready to go, and if you try to keep that feeling for 37 minutes, you may get yourself tired. I mean, there's some emotional energy that takes it out of you. Or you just say, hey, relax here, man. Just kind of, you know, relax. Don't expend too much energy. And then, you know, 5 minutes before we go out there, we'll try to get revved up again. So it's a little bit different to manage. And you know, I know there's reasons for it, but as a coach and a team trying to prepare to go to battle, I just think it's too long.
Mark, you mentioned you're not losing everyone on defense. Do you have a good sense of the underclassmen, what they're going to do, and also with Aaron, what's your take on where he stands with that?
Right. Talking about what they're going to do as far as staying and going?
Yeah.
I think the day before the game maybe not a good time to talk about that. And I don't know for sure. No one's told me point blank one way or the other what they're going to do.
Hi, Coach. You mentioned 37 minutes is the downtime. What is the normal downtime?
It's 20.
20, okay.
Normally.
A question, Taylor Martinez the other day was asked about your defense, and he said it was he described it as a typical Big Ten defense. How would you describe your defense?
Well, I don't know what a Big Ten defense looks like as far as what's typical. We're studying Nebraska, but we're not really studying everybody in that league. I don't know. I think we're a defense that has got a really strong talent base, a lot of seniority, guys that can play physical, guys that can play fast, guys that have cover skills, guys that have pass rush skills. And if we put it all together and play, you know, our best ball, you know, I'm expecting them to have a good performance.
Hey, Mark, you've done this 12 times, and you've had seniors 12 times, or people that leave 12 times. When does it occur to you that, like, Rambo, the person, is leaving rather than just the player? Does that come up?
Well, I think it starts, usually it starts at the gala, but I didn't make it this year because I was not feeling well that day. I had the flu, worse than I ever thought you could have a flu, but I missed that night because that's the night when you really begin to honor those guys and you know they're going out the door. I think that's when it usually starts for me, but then right when you get to bowl practice, you know, it's kind of the last time they're going to be, one of the last times they'll be practice on this field or that field, or even like yesterday, it was the last practice period. It was the last practice in 2012 for everybody. It was the last practice for our seniors or anybody else who may be deciding to go. So, you know, you think about that, You could tell that they're feeling it too. I think, I don't think there's any doubt they're excited about their futures, but they realize that they're gonna miss everybody. I know when the season begins and we set the new seating chart, or when the off-season begins, like the next time we meet, all those juniors move to the front row. I mean, that's how we do it in our team meeting room. So when you sit in that front row seat, you know it's on your time. And quite frankly, when this game's over, we get in the locker room, I think I do a good job of thanking everybody, all of our seniors that are leaving, but I'll immediately talk about the next year's group and say, you know, your watch has started right now, and you've got the responsibility of leading this team, and so it happens pretty quick.